Every group of friends has the funny one. We're the Chandlers of the world, making it our personal business to improve the mood by cracking jokes and mining situations for laughs. But we're often misunderstood and/or underappreciated because our friends don't know what happened behind the scenes to bring that wisecracker observation to life. I want to shed some light on some of the inner workings of the funny friend's mind and share some common things about us you might not know. You'll either leave this video going, "Oh, I never thought of it that way," or, "Oh, this was a giant waste of my time," and go back to taking us for granted. Let's see which one you are. 1. Some of those jokes that seemed improvised in the moment were thought of ahead of time. Sure, we can be great improvisers, and we'll often deliver good quality jokes with no prior thought, but at least sometimes we anticipated a situation beforehand and came up with some zingers to accompany it. You and your friends going out to play miniature golf today? Well, if you searched your funny friend's room an hour or so before the time of commitment, you might find a piece of paper that reads, midgets just call this golf? 2. We're paying attention to who is and isn't laughing at us. Funny friends are comedians, even if they've never been on stage. They innately know how to judge a crowd and gauge an overall response. So if we're standing in a circle with people at a party and we drop a joke bomb, we're analyzing the aftermath before the debris is even settled. If we're confident in what we just said and see someone not laughing or at least smiling, we like that person less now, and that covert friendship damage is permanent. One of my friends gradually phased out of my life when I was 14. 5 years later, I get a message from him on my Facebook asking how I've been and how he wants to catch up. But I remember a time at my 14th birthday, I said something funny and he didn't react. So I ignored his message because he's still dead to me. 3. We can recognize a fake laugh. Don't condescend your funny friends. We're not always going to be 100% hilarious all the time. Sometimes we miss, and we feel like shit about it, but that feeling is compounded when we hear the distinctly personal sound of a fake laugh afterwards. Your heart's in the right place. We know you mean well, but when you fake a laugh, you become untrustworthy in the judgment of comedy. Plus, it reminds us of what we fear most in the world, being the unfunny friend. Some groups have a guy or girl that is just truly terrible, but who doggedly pursues comedy like it's their salvation, which it probably would be if they could ever attain it. And everyone around them fakes laughter at every turn, egging on the hopeless joke wrecker who is secretly passionately hated by everyone in their vicinity. That scenario scares us to death, like a burn victim who has nightmares about being a firefighter. 4. Your group only has room for one of us, despite what you may think. Funny friends are like fedoras, only one per group. Also, girls like us because we're slightly gay. I've seen funny friend competition in my day, and it never works out well for both parties. Once the topic of who's funnier is brought up by an instantly despicable member of the group, animosity forms between the competitors immediately. A victor is declared after a 5-minute discussion between everybody but the funny friends, and the resulting blow to their confidence means the loser gradually phases themselves out of the group to find another one where they can be alpha. 5. We don't like each other. We don't want to meet more of us. Laughter is a valued commodity for funny friends, and to the people we care most about, we want to be the sole supplier. If you think we'll love someone who is supposedly the funniest guy you've ever met, you are gravely mistaken. That's an affront to our establishment. He's not even here and he's already poaching on our territory. A meeting between us and the funniest guy ever is only going to make us feel better afterwards if it ends in their murder. The idea of the existence of that person is also devastating to the quality of the goods we carry. It makes us try too hard to top that person, and trying too hard is the number one killer of comedy. That funniest guy is ruining everything we built, and he doesn't even know we exist yet. 6. We're popular with the ladies, but not in the way we'd like. Funny friends aren't relationship material. At least that's what girls assume from the start. Girls love funny people, just not in that way, which is ironic considering they always say they can never date someone who couldn't make them laugh, which also apparently translates into never dating the someone who makes them laugh the most. Are we one-dimensional? Maybe on the outside. We've gotten so adept at offering our best thing, but there's never really been situations where we've had to offer anything else to our friends. There's a very small demographic of women who will date comedians, and God bless them because they're the right type for us too. They're always passionate and have high self-esteem, they're confident they can keep up with our craziness, and they can take a joke, of which we'll be unleashing many at their expense. They're also usually weird, with maybe some unaddressed mental issues. That's been my pattern anyway. The truth is, we have so much more to give than just comic relief to a relationship, and it takes a special kind of girl to venture into that particular unknown. Maybe if a bunch of girls watch this, we can break the stigma. Hashtag let's go viral. 7. If you say, tell us a joke, we are not going to want to tell you a joke. We want to be funny on our terms. The minute we're propositioned, it just feels like we clocked in at work. It's like how a woman can make a sandwich for a guy of her own accord, but if a guy asks her to make him a sandwich, all of a sudden she gets testy. It also has to do with the style of comedy that funny friends create. Oftentimes, the situation a joke is told in is the fuel that propels the joke forward, such as with observational comedy. If something happens while you're with a group of friends and you remark upon it, that's a lot funnier than telling a joke from scratch where you made up that thing happening, if that makes sense. So, as soon as you're put on the spot to create laughter without the usual assistance of circumstance, the payout is pretty much guaranteed to be smaller. So in essence, when you ask us to tell you a joke, we already know it's not going to be as funny as what you've come to expect from hanging out with us, and we'd rather not disappoint you. 8. A lot of us are antisocial introverts. This may be more of a case-by-case basis, but a small amount of half-assed research has brought me to the conclusion that most funny people prefer solitaire to go fish. We spend a lot of time alone with our thoughts, so we've learned to construct them in entertaining ways to keep us from becoming bored out of our minds. While other people's laughter is a worthwhile reward for leaving the serene and stressless environments of isolation, being alone is where most of our contributions to our friends are conceptualized, so it's also where we feel the most useful and productive. This is the mentality most suitable for surviving a life of touring the country as a road comic, in and out of hotels, quick shows, and then a bunch of downtime in cities where you don't know a soul, so for those funny friends looking at pursuing a real career in their field, it's a helpful way to cope. 9. We wish you knew how deep we were. We're so deep, you guys. Even someone like me, who usually considers philosophy of any kind a waste of time, can pull some things out of my ass in a pinch. We're submerged in our deepness, oftentimes struggling to keep our heads above water, drowning in too much depth. What does that mean? That's how deep I am. You'll have to think about it. Reading between the lines comes naturally to us, so much so that we typically filter out the lines themselves, gathering information from where the words aren't located, where ink has yet to stain the pages. While others see the glass half full, we ask, half full of what? And then write Dimitri Martin a check before the public comes down on us, even though he doesn't hold a monopoly on that particular concept just because he made a joke about it in 2007 or something. My ass is almost empty at this point, so I'll end by saying that while we may seem one-dimensional on the outside, inside there is a wealth of variety and intrigue, waiting to be mutually discovered. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, you can like, share, and subscribe as related to how you're feeling today, and maybe I'll see you guys next time.